Namaste, yogis. Welcome to Bhakti Yoga. Take a moment to grab yourself a couple of blocks if you haven't already. Other straps are optional for today's practice. We are going to start out on our backs. So once you've got what you need, make your way onto your back. Keep the feet flat, the knees up in the air. And I always like to walk the feet into a place where I can wiggle my fingers and touch my heels. And then walk the feet out as wide as you comfortably can, getting some weight to the inner foot, right under the big toe, and back into that inner heel. And wake that area up so you can drop the knees in towards one another, softening the inner thighs to the earth. You want some weight in the outer feet, of course, as well. By grounding that inner foot, you can wake up the inner arch. Spread out through the toes. The outer arches will naturally turn on a little bit as you get your little pinky toe awake. Rest the arms wherever they're comfortable for a moment. Just take a nice deep inhale. And exhale all the breath out to empty. Give it just a couple of more breath here. All the way to full. And back out again. Feeling yourself fully arrive in the body. Every in-breath is an opportunity to gather awareness and attention into the body. And then finding something to soften, relax, and release on the exhales. Just kind of feeling welcome in the body. Prepared for our practice today. Let's move the feet in just a little bit closer so they're in line with the hips or the shoulders. Turn the big toes in just a hair so the outside edges of the feet are parallel with the outer mat. Let's bring the hands onto the hips right over top the lower belly as well, so you can feel into that little crease where your pinky finger side of your hand can rub up against the thigh bone. Sit up on top of the front of the pelvis there. And you can feel your lower belly. Let's try and get a nice deep breath in through the nose, all the way down into the belly. And just feel your lower back, get a nice arch in it. Opening up. We're going to exhale, empty out through the nose, squeeze your belly to your back, and that arch disappears. As you hug the belly to the back, we're going to lengthen the tailbone. Just notice sometimes it wants to tuck up. Just get more of a lengthening out. Stop there so don't go all the way to tucking. Right? And then inhale fully. Find a little bit of that tilt again. You can even feel how the top of the pelvis moves up into your hands towards the tops of the thighs a little. And then exhaling. All the breath out. Belly to the back. Lengthen out. Feel your lower back get a little longer. Try and get the whole rib cage on the earth as well. So that lower 12th rib right there around where your kidneys and adrenals are, press it in. On the next breath in, get it going down into the belly, all the way up into the sides. So instead of letting that lower 12th rib area leave the ground, try and widen out through there. Breathe up through the sides of the body and go all the way to empty. As you do, you can move your hands up under the low front ribs and help push them in towards each other a little bit. Feel the bottom part of the sternum move into the navel. You might even be able to wriggle your shoulders down your back as you breathe in. Just let that move down into the belly and expand out through the sides. Try not to let the ribs go up into your hands, but sideways. And then all the breath out. If you'd like to take your hands up a little higher, you can rest them under the clavicles and then breathe in belly, sides of the waist, all the way up to the top of the chest. You might find a little length between the shoulders and the base of the skull. Try and capitalize on that. And exhale. Feel the tailbone and the crown lengthening away from each other. Things getting a little longer and more spacious. And give it another full breath here. Belly sides. Top chest. And we'll exhale. Grab the right knee and pull it in towards your chest. So give it another breath. You can draw that right knee right down the center line and feel the femur kind of parallel to the spine. And let's drop the knee off a little bit to the right. Don't go too far, but feel that place where you can just pull in and get a little more flexion. And then hanging out here, let's bring the hands back behind the right thigh and extend the right thigh or the right heel up to the sky and push the right thigh bone into the hands. So you feel the femur kind of descending into the pelvis where it meets the socket. Pushing the thigh away from the rib cage. Make a little space between the ribs and the hips, like the right hip's dropping down. Let's try and get it even there next to the left one. We'll take a breath or two here, pushing up through the heel, flexing front of the leg. Breathing into those hamstrings. If you have tight hamstrings, your leg might be a little more forward. If you're feeling pretty loose, your toes might be coming back a little bit more towards your face. Try and keep the right hip and the left hip side by side on the earth. A little bit of the natural curve in your low back if possible. The lower 12th rib touching ground. So as you breathe in, you're still able to spread that and widen it out. And contract in through the front body a little bit on the exhales. Let's reach the left leg out slowly on the earth. So we're going to push out through the left heel. You can keep the heel floating. And as you breathe here, work to squeeze the outer left leg in towards the midline a little bit. So you might even have to feel where the thigh meets the pelvis on the left side and suck it back up in there. See if you can feel right side and left side side by side. Both legs dynamically working. Both tops of the femurs descending and rooting down. Energy all the way out through the toes. Set the left heel down for a couple of breaths. Just continue a little hug in from the outer left leg so you can soften the inside of the left leg and the very top of the left femur towards the ground even more. And feel the tailbone lengthening out towards left heel. And give it another breath. Squeeze the belly to the back. Feel some length through your tail. Don't let it tuck. Lower 12th rib in the ground as you inhale. Let's get the arms straight up. Breathe in, breathe out. Draw the shoulder heads, tops of the upper arms down. Get a little longer from the tail to the crown. And then spin the piggies in as much as you'd like. And we're going to inhale the arms. Let's go about halfway. And see if you can pause there and breathe the belly into the back. Feeling the lower front ribs knit in towards each other. And the lower back still around the lower 12th rib connected to the earth. And then if you can get your arms a little further back by the ears, go for it. Inhale. Try not to arch the low back. There's going to be a little bit of natural curve there. We want to feel tailbone lengthening out towards the left inner heel. Crown reaching out towards the fingertips, and the arms are floating. And let's add that left leg. We'll let it float again for a couple breaths. Breathe in and breathe out. It's a little mini bit of core work. And it's like a warrior 3 lying on your back. Give it another breath. Fill it to capacity. Inhale. Let's exhale. Set the left foot back down and draw the right knee back into the chest. And then we'll set the right foot near the left and draw the left knee into chest. And we'll do it all on the second side. So a couple breaths, just taking the left knee straight down the center line. See what you can get out of there. And then maybe just go a little further to the left where you might get a little more hip flexion. You can feel the hip flexor relax a little more when you take that tiny angle. And then we'll get behind the back of the left leg and extend the left heel to the sky. I just have to remember as well that right leg to keep the right big toe and inner heel anchored in. And then feel into the pelvis. Try and press the left thigh bone into your hands. And feel the femur descend in the socket where it meets the pelvis. Right and left just side by side as you can feel. And a little bit of natural curve in the low back if it's available. Breathing in and out. Stretching out the back of the left leg. Keep the shoulders down the back. And we'll extend out through the right heel. It's nice and slow. Let it lengthen out right above the ground. Let it hover out there about an inch or two. And then suck the right femur back up into the pelvis as much as you need to level things out. And squeeze right outer thigh towards the midline, enough to soften the top of the right inner thigh towards the earth. Get a nice widening feeling through the back of the pelvis. And tailbone's going for that right inner heel. And thigh bone on the left side is continuing to drop and press into the hands, so both femurs are dropping. We feel how that can help bring the pelvis into a nice alignment. Give us some awareness in there. And then when you're ready, we'll set the right heel down. Breathe in. All the way down into the belly, getting the rib cage on the earth. Exhale. Squeeze your belly to your back, release your hands. And reach up for the first breath. Shoulder heads coming down into the earth on the exhale. And then spin the pinkies and inhale. Arms going up and over. Continue to breathe. Arms as far by the ears as you can take them. Hover the thumbs. And when you're ready, hover right leg. Keep reaching the top of the left thigh away from the body. Descending the top of the right femur towards the earth and softening right inner thigh down, tailbone lengthening. Crown out towards the fingers. Belly into the back. Give it another breath. All the way to full. And on the exhale, you can draw the right knee in and hug the left knee back into the chest. Good. And then we'll set the left foot down. Let's inhale both arms overhead. And exhale both knees into the chest. Draw your nose up to your knees and hug everything in. Let's inhale, legs straight up. And arms back up overhead. Press up through those heels. Exhale here. Squeeze the belly to the back. Lengthen, crown and tail away from each other. Inhale fully. Keep the thumbs floating, and we're going to exhale. Lower the right leg until it's about an inch above the ground. Inhale fully. And exhale, bring it up. Inhale here. Exhale left side. Slow and with control. Breathe in. Can you feel the pelvis still staying balanced? And exhale it up. One more time, side to side. Inhale fully. And exhale lower. So we're pausing on the inhales. Breathe in. Move on the exhale. Breathe out. Inhale here. And left leg. On the exhale. Hovers. Breathe in. Breathe out. Draw it up one more time. Big inhale. And again, exhale. Knees in. Nose to the knees. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And go ahead and rock yourself up. Plant the hands on the earth. And let's pull it all the way back into a downward facing dog. So get your pointer fingers pretty much dead ahead. Start to dial the biceps, eye the elbow forward. Draw those shoulders down the back, heart wide. And then backing up through the sitting bones. We want to feel like our hands are reaching all the way back through the sides of the waist to the hips. And that we are lengthening our low back. So give yourself a deep bend in the knees if you need a nice lift of the heels. Continue that external rotation of the upper arms, working to line up the ears in between the arms, shoulder blades spreading away from the spine on the back, and collarbones spreading away from the sternum and the front chest. And as you get those arms strong overhead, you got to wrap the outer upper arms and use the lats. Let them take over for the upper traps. And that's where you can start to pull the thighs strongly back from the very top where we were reaching previously, right? Both thighs at the same time now. So if you could pull your pelvis all the way out of your low back with the power of your thighs. Feel as much length as you can get with as much opening through the front. Grounding calves and heels to the earth. Give it another breath or two. Front body to back body on every exhale. Continuing to lengthen and support the low back, and every inhale, fill to capacity. Let it go. Let's lift the heels, roll it out into plank on the in-breath. Give it a breath out here, squeezing the belly up and in. You want to feel like the sides of the waist, right under your bottom ribs there, are where your legs start. And you're lifting all the way up through the tops of the thighs where they meet the pelvis. Let's put a little bit of softening of the spine in between the shoulder blades. And as the tailbone reaches back to those heels, get your crown going straight out towards whatever's in front. Really work to widen the chest and keep the belly on nice and strong. And then we're going to take a little bit of joyous twisting here. We're just going to move the left foot towards the earth. You can bring it over to the side, so your left heel's right there in the midline. Stack the right leg on top. So it's like the legs are in side plank, but we're going to keep the open chest. Nice deep breathing. Big inhale. And exhale. Twist a little deeper. One more time. Inhale. Lengthen and open the chest. Exhale. Belly to the back, tailbone. Back to those heels. Maybe separate those inner thighs. And then back to center. Let's do the second side for a few breaths. So find that length of the chest. Right heel kind of right there in the midline. Left leg on top. A little separate through the heels. That right upper arm's going to really pull back. Open up the chest. Breathing in. Breathing out. Front and back. Unified. Another in. And out. Last breath here. And then bring it back into center. Big breath in. Find your plank. And then pull it back through to the downward facing dog. Starts to warm things up right away, doesn't it? Let's drop down onto the knees. And from here, we're going to move to a little puppy pose, Anahata Asana. So you're more than welcome to use your blocks here as well. But the hips are going to stay right over the knees. The hands will go forward. We want to keep a floaty feeling from under the wrists. We still want the pointer finger and thumb doing most of the work into the earth so we can find that external rotation through the upper arms and that powerful spreading and widening through the front and back body. Through the shoulder girdle as we drop the head down. Forehead's going to rest. And if you need to, you can prop it up on a block or a blanket. The forearms are floating all the way up through the sides there, up onto those armpits, back towards the hips, squeezing front and back together. Feel the bottom part of the sternum pull up and in towards the tops of the thighs a little. Let's go for a little more chest opening if you can find it. Keep grounding in her hand. And widening out. Front chest. Give it another deep breath in. Let's set the forearms down on the ground. Pick your head up for a second and just slide a little forward so you can bring your hands into a prayer. You might need to snuggle your elbows in a little bit. So we're going to work to bring the prayer up overhead. And now work to wrap the triceps down towards the ground a little bit more, forehead on the earth. Just give yourself more of a tricep stretch here. It's going to get into some of those rotator cuff muscles. Deep in the inner upper arm. Feels pretty good to me. You can let the prayer rest back by the back of your head and neck if that feels good. Or you can keep it floating somewhere towards the sky. Just work to lengthen from the elbows all the way back through the sides of the waist to the hips. Give your heart another breath of opening here. Let's give it a nice big inhale, lifting up, moving the forearms back down onto the ground, and shoulders on top of the forearms. You can exhale your belly up into your back and find that length through the tail. You can keep the prayer, or I like to come back to kind of parallel arms here. So move to a low plank, tops of the thighs lift. Try and keep that opening in the front chest, gaze out towards the fingers and beyond. Tailbone back to the heels, and front body lifting up to support the back. Can you feel the quads lifting up into your pelvis, the lower belly lifting all the way up towards the heart reaching out towards the thumbs, and the crown aiming for whatever's right in front of you. Another full breath. Then we'll slowly lower it down through the hips, land in your Sphinx pose. Give it a breath here, tops of the feet, press the mat. Try and get all 10 toes in the ground. Little pinky toenails touch the earth, and there's a lightness through the inner thighs. I feel like the insides of the legs get higher than the outsides of the legs. The back of the pelvis can widen. And on an exhale, you squeeze your belly towards your back, just like we do in plank. Tailbone will lengthen back towards the heels. And the front of the pelvis, which is your pubic bone, anchors into the ground. Try and feel that evenly pressing right and left side. And then give yourself a big inhale all the way to top chest. See if you can feel the chest lifting, upper arms moving back. Shoulder blades drop down the back. And we try and feel for the bottom tips of those shoulder blades. Move them into the back ribs. Nudge your heart forward with every in-breath. Every exhale, support the lower back. Lengthen the tailbone back. So you're not squeezing your tailbone with your glutes. Right? You're feeling them firm maybe a little bit. Hamstrings on. But try not to squeeze the midline, but find length through the crown and out through the tail. And we'll do the same thing as we move to Cobra. Slide the hands back right by the lower ribs. Draw those shoulder heads up on the inhale. Down the back through the shoulder blades and heart forward and up. Slow lower, head to the earth, squeeze the belly up and in. Keep the feet pressing, little pinky toes in the ground. Inhale, rise. Maybe you get a little higher. Exhale, lower. One more time, smooth inhale. We're going to stay up on the exhale. Squeeze the belly to the back, lift the hands. You can float the hands back behind you. Chin in, back of the neck long, or if you've got the ability to interlace or you want to grab a strap here, more than welcome. Collarbone spreading. Back of the pelvis widening. Tailbone reaching back. Heart filling up. And chest and crown reaching forth. One more breath in. And then we'll exhale, slow lower. Hands are going to land back by the lower ribs. Curl the toes. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. We're going to squeeze belly to back. Press to plank. Take a full inhale and plank. And then pull it back. Down dog is your exhale. Give it a moment. Come back to feeling yourself. All four extremities on the earth. Notice what your preferences are, and then a lot of times we need to cultivate the opposite. So, can we ground the inner feet, lift the inner arches, open the chest, ground the inner hands, find length through the spine, and even work through the extremities. So feel free, move it all the way to the right, both right arm and right hand and right foot working a little more, into the left. And then into center. Can you get them both working evenly? Give it another breath. Let's lift the heels high. Soften the knees deep. Get all the breath out. Look forward between your hands. Give yourself a big step, several little steps, or a hop to the top. And then lengthen on the inhale. Feel free to keep those knees a little soft. Back of the pelvis widening. And soften. Back down over the thighs all the way to empty. We'll take a moment here. Waking up the feet. Softening the inner thighs. When the legs are nice and strong here, you get a good feeling of the front of the leg and the back of the leg on. Inner and outer leg working together. Then your whole torso can just kind of cascade over the legs and relax and release. Let's come out halfway reaching, bring your hands to hips. Activate your upper back. Lift those shoulder heads to the sky. Squeeze your belly to your back here. And then we'll press shoulders into back to rise all the way to stand. And take a moment to find Tadasana. So you can always step your feet a little wider if you need. But we've got a good grounding through the inner foot. A little softening back through the inner thighs as the outer legs hug in. And the tailbone lengthening to heels. So the front of the pelvis lifts. We can continue that rising energy up through the front of the spine. Lifting up through the lower back ribs. And softening a little in through the lower front ribs. Let's turn the palms to the sky. Chin in, lengthen up where the skull and the spine meet in the back of the head, as well as right, kind of at the high heart, top of the sternum. Lifting and opening. And exhale. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, you can go down the center line or take kind of a swan dive out. Let's feel the pelvis lift up over the thighs and pour out on top. Come out halfway reaching, big inhale. Activate your upper back. Feel that little mini cobra action. Exhale completely. Chin in, crown down. Press to rise. Stand tall. And then down the center. Feel your middle and your roots. So drop your attention a good 3, 6, 9 feet down into the ground. Bring it up, inhaling. Exhale, fold. Let's reach the heart forward and move the right leg backward this time. I'm just going to stay for a moment in the high lunge on the fingertips. So really work to get the left knee on top of the ankle. And pull the left thigh straight back towards the wall behind. Try and drop it towards the ground. You might even wiggle the left foot a little left or the right foot a little right for stability purposes. Push through the right heel, all 5 right toes in the ground, and try and lengthen all the way from that right inner heel, all the way through the top of your head. Deep breath in. We're going to exhale, hands down, and step to plank. Give yourself a big breath here. All the way to full. And exhale, knees or straight legs, chaturanga. Hug the belly to the back, heart forward and down. Shoulders to elbow height if you're doing up dog over the toes. Otherwise, all the way to the earth for cobra. And exhaling, we take it back. Down dog. Give it a full breath in. And a full breath out. If you like, you can lift the right leg to the sky, breathing in. And use that little bit of momentum to get the foot up in between the hands, exhaling. Lengthen out here, left heel to crown. So again, widen the feet a little if that makes sense for your body. Keep a little weight to the right inner foot and heel. Keep pulling the right thigh back. Let it squeeze, outer thigh in and drop down. And then top of the left thigh is reaching for the sky. And the very inside of that, or the very outside of the left thigh is squeezing towards the middle so the inside can get a little freedom. Give it another deep breath in. And then plant your left hand inside the right foot. Dial the left shoulder down the back like side plank. Inhale your right arm halfway out. Then exhale, twist from the navel. We'll give it a few deep breaths here. Continue to spin left bicep forward. Lengthen from left hand to right finger. Exhale. Squeeze the belly to the back. Sink the right hip, but keep the very top of the left thigh reaching for the sky. And breathe in. Back heel to crown. Fingertip to fingertip. Exhale. Twist a little deeper if it's available. One more deep breath in. And we're coming down on the exhale. Hands down. Let's get some length on the inhale. We're going to exhale, arms out by the ears. Keep pulling back. Through the right hip and down. Squeezing left outer thigh and breathe. Left heel to crown and fingers. Exhale. Feel the plank in the belly. One more deep breath in. And hands down on the exhale. Step your left foot to your right. Folding in half. All the way to empty. Press to rise. Standing tall. And down the center line. Hold the breath out. Come back on a fresh one. Big inhale. Exhale. As you lengthen the heart forward into Ardha Uttanasana, we take the left leg back. Just a couple breaths. Use your blocks here if you need. Right thigh pulling back, sinking down, maybe even hugging the middle. Left heel all the way out through the crown. Trying to direct from the inner heel all the way through the spine. And exhaling to plank. Breathe in. Lower down, knees or straight legs, chaturanga. Your choice of cobra or the upward dog. We'll meet back in downward facing. Taking a full in and a full out breath. Left leg can rise. And step. Grow long from the right heel to the crown now. And work to sink that left hip again towards the earth. Maybe hug it towards the midline. And lengthen out. Plant the right hand inside left foot. Get that feeling of side plank through the right shoulder and inhale. Left arm straight side. Exhale, twist. And about 3 more breaths here. We're going to lengthen from right hand to left finger. Exhale. Keep sinking left hip. Lifting top of the right thigh. Rotating from deep in the belly. leg super strong. Inhaling. And we're going to exhale, hand down. Take a breath in, get longer. And arms out by the ears. Exhale. Stay low. Breathe in. Breathe out. Keep those actions going. Left thigh pulling back, down and in. Right leg helping you lift and lengthen. One more big inhale. Hands down and step. Top of the mat. As you exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. And exhale down the center. Take a moment. Breathing in. And breathing out. Next inhale, we're going to touch the earth. Sweep the arms up for chair pose. Exhale. Sit back into those heels. Weight back into the hips. Inner thighs softening towards the earth. Back of the pelvis widening. Might be able to get a little lower. So you lengthen through your low back and then press the shoulders in, uplift the crown. See how much you can get out of the chest. Give it another couple breaths. Deep inhale. Exhale, fold over the thighs. Inhale, lengthen out halfway. And we're going to step back to plank. Give yourself an inhale. Find the length. And let's roll over to the left side. So you can bring both feet together. Trying to keep the heels a little separate. Right arm comes up. Front and back work together. Dial the left bicep forward. Shoulder blade deep. And squeeze. Front ribs in as you lengthen tailbone out. And crown straight away from it. Give it another couple breaths. When you're ready, back to plank. Inhaling, get longer. Exhale, roll it to the side. Couple breaths. Notice how that top hip loves to roll backward in space. If you keep that top inner thigh rolling back, it'll bring that left hip a little forward. Stack it on top of the right. Activate your lower belly a little bit. Releasing when you're ready. I'm going to lower all the way to the earth. Inhale. And exhale. Slowly down. So same. Inhale to cobra now. Using the hands to help. Exhale. Keep your chest up. Squeeze your belly to your back. Lengthen the tailbone out. And then we're going to get the heels up. Lifting through the big toe sides of the foot. Reach. Couple breaths here. We're going to float on the front of the pelvis. Get a little longer and if you'd like, release the hands back. Interlace. Hold the strap. Or just let your arms float. Couple breaths. And release when you're ready. Let it go. Curl the toes. Inhale. Exhale. Plank. Breathe in. And breathe out. Downward facing dog. Take a full in. And a full out breath. Going to get the right leg up and back. Breathing in. Right up in between the hands. Breathing out. Get long here as you do in your lunge. And just hop the left foot a little to the left now. Get the weight back into that left heel. But try to keep your right hip at a right angle. That's the hard part, right? So we want to ground. Big toe and inner heel. And like you're kicking the right foot into the mat and trying to push the mat away from you, you get the weight back into this back right hip. Just hug it in a little bit. Lift through the left inner arch as you get the weight moving back into that left heel. And then as you brighten the inner thigh, we squeeze the outer leg in, softening inner thigh back, widening the back of the pelvis with lots of nice internal rotation. Give yourself a lengthening in-breath, arms out by the ears. Squeeze your belly to your back. Tailbone to that back heel. Let the tail descend as the arms rise up. Try to keep that right hip sinking and pulling back. Down, weight into the back leg. Lifting left inner arch and squeezing left outer thigh in. Let's give it another big inhale here. We're going to drop the right hand down. Taking the thumb to the top of the right thigh into that little crease. Just work to pull the right thigh back and sink it a little bit more. Let's descend the left arm about right out of the shoulder. See if you can move your left shoulder head back any amount. And squeeze, front and back together, lengthening down through the tail and up through the crown. Shoulders working to stack on top of the hips. And pull the right side waist back a little bit more. Inhale, left arm up, spin the pinky in. Exhale. Inhale, add the right arm. Try to keep the hips low. Working the feet, directing the thighs, which will coordinate your pelvis. One more big inhale. Maybe touch palms, look up. Exhale. Chaturanga. Slow forward and down. Choose your vinyasa. And we'll land back in dog pose. Left leg's going to sweep right away on a fresh breath. Step. Rooted a little wider than heel to heel. We'll spend a couple breaths here. Left knee on top of the ankle. And then weight into the left heel. So imagine you were trying to kick the mat away from you with that left heel. Feel it activate the hamstring a little bit. Drop down where your hip meets the pelvis. Try and sink it all the way to where the knee is. Weight into the right leg, especially the right heel. And then grounding through the right inner heel, right under the big toe. Lift the inner arch. Squeeze right outer thigh into the middle. We'll start to soften the top of the right inner thigh back. Widen the back of the pelvis. Tailbone of that back heel. Arms out by the ears. Breathing in. Breathing out. Tail to the earth. Inhaling up. Torso rises. And exhale. Front and back. Unify. Give it another lengthening breath. We'll bring the left hand down. Put it in that little crease. See if you can sink the left hip anymore. Keep pulling it back and in. Lifting up through that right arm. We'll exhale it down to parallel with the earth. Pull back from the right shoulder. See if that gives you the ability to find the little twist here, pulling back through the left side waist. None. Reaching all the way from the right heel up through the right fingers. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, left arm up. Couple breaths here. Last breath, you might look up. And release down. Chaturanga. Keep riding the breath. There's always an extra breath in plank. Dog or cobra. Back to down dog. And release. Couple of breaths. Get steady. Realign with your intention. And rising through the heels. Softening the knees. We'll step or float feet to hands. Lengthen out. Deepen in. Let's rise up through chair. Utkatasana. Inhale. All the way to stand. Exhale. Riding the breath now. Inhale. Touch the earth. Chair pose. Exhale. Sweep the hands behind the back to interlace. And half chair. Stay for your inhale. Lengthen from the sitting bones out through the crown. Shoulder blades into the back. And then exhale. All the breath out. Touch the earth. Inhale. Chair. Exhale. Arms back behind the back. Breathe in. Breathe out. Release. Inhale. And exhale. Fold over the thighs. Lengthen yourself forward. Breathing in. Step or float it backward. Breathing out. Chaturanga. Through your vinyasa. We'll land back in down dog. This time the right leg is going for the sky on the in-breath. Lead through the inner thigh. Exhale. Foot up in between the hands. Ground it down. Virabhadrasana 1. One big breath to the top. Exhale here. Inhale here. And then we're going to sweep the hands behind the back. Lift the back heel up on the exhale. So give yourself a breath here. It's crescent pose. You can drop in a little lower perhaps. Lengthening up, press shoulders into the back. Back leg super strong. tailbone down. Another big inhale. And we're going to keep pulling back through the right hip and heel, like you're kicking the right foot into the mat. And you're going to fold out, halfway reaching. Give it a breath. Breathe in, and then we're going to breathe out. You can use the blocks if you need. Virabhadrasana 3. To straighten the back leg and lift through the very top of the left thigh. Hug right outer thigh in. Pull the right thigh straight back. You can have hands at hips, hands at heart, wherever you need them for support. And then when you're ready, or hands on blocks, I should have said, we're going to step back slowly. Rise back up, Virabhadrasana 1. And release through the vinyasa. Chaturanga. Take your time. Up dog or cobra. And we'll arrive back in the down dog. For the second side, left leg going up. Step it up in between the hands. Root it down to rise it up into Vira 1. Find all those key actions. And take an extra breath to just square things off and refine. Deep breath in. On an exhale, sweep the hands behind the back. Lift up through that right heel. Really push back through it. Deep breath in, lifting all the way top chest. Exhale. Bottom sternum to navel. Tail to the earth and weight back in that left heel. Give it another full inhale and start your fold. Keep pulling the left hip back. Squeezing right outer thigh in. Take as many breaths as you need. Keeping the chest wide, you can move hands to hips. Hop back leg as many times as you need. Just working to straighten the left leg, pull the left thigh back. Squeeze right outer thigh in. Maybe bring your hands onto your hips to feel what they're up to. And continue to grow longer. You're ready to step it back, slow and steady. Virabhadrasana 1. Inhale. And exhale. Chaturanga. Take your time. Pausing back in dog pose. Give it a couple of breaths. When you're ready, you can lift high through the heels, soften the knees, get in low, step or float it, lengthen out, deepen in, and rise up through chair, inhale, stand tall, exhale. Keep the hands on the hips, and take a wide step out to the side. So once you get yourself wide, you can measure out. See if you can get your wrists and your ankles about the same distance. Big inhale, wide open chest. Hands onto the hips. We'll start with the right toes dead ahead. Left heel can spin back a little bit, setting up for what will feel like triangle in the legs. We're preparing for second warrior. Arms nice and wide. Back leg neutral and front leg's gonna externally rotate on the exhale. Just drop yourself in. On that right hip hug under. Left side waist pull back. And then inhale, straighten. Keep feeling as if someone had your left fingers. Just pulling back. Try to keep the shoulders right over top the hips. Front and back. Moving in evenly. Big breath in here. And out. So enjoy a couple breaths. And we'll take it to side angle. Lengthen out through the right side body. Keep the weight back in the right heel. You can start with forearm to thigh. And go down the inner or outer leg. And just work to open things up for a couple breaths. And keep right and left side lengthening. If you spin your left palm forward, you can give it a nice extension overhead, keeping the shoulder blade well integrated onto the back. Just get as much length here through the side body as you can muster. Breathe in and breathe out. One more deep inhale. Rolling belly and heart to the sky as you exhale. Inhale fully. Drop the hand and move back to second warrior. Breathe in. And breathe out. Straighten up. Turn the toes. And move to the second side. Hands can rest on the hips. Right heel back a little bit. Big inhale, bending the left knee all the way down to a right angle. And the opening of the inner thighs. Front of the pelvis. And breathing in. Breathing out for a breath. Re-straighten. And re-bend. And enjoy. A couple breaths here. Second warrior. Long. Through the left side. Keep pulling back. Into the left hip. Weight in the heel. Right arm to the sky. You can go inner or outer leg. Front and back join together. And the breath stays steady, smooth, and strong. You can spin right palm forward and give it a nice lengthening all the way out of the right heel. Try and see if you can feel the left side get as long as the right side. What would that be like? Give it another breath or two. Rolling belly and heart up. Breathing in. Breathing out. Drop the hand and inhale back up. And exhale. Center. Deep breath here. And squeeze. Softening front ribs. Tailbone to the earth. Let's bring hands behind the back and interlace. Find that big breath in at the top of the chest without putting a curve in the low back. Fold. Prasarita Padottanasana C. Hold the breath out. Keep the weight in the heels. Big toe and inner heel. Press out a little through the inner leg. Squeeze in a little through the outer leg. If you want to release the hands to the earth, you can find some length. And then either Prasarita Padottanasana A or D if you want to grab the big toes. You could pull yourself in from there. It's like chaturanga through the arms if you're doing the A variation. Widen out the chest through the front and use the shoulder blades into the back to help coax the heart towards the thighs. Just keep reaching, sitting bones high. Keep the chest nice and wide and belly into the back for length as you descend through the crown. Give it a last breath. We'll come back out. Inhale. Exhale. Hands to hips. Rise to stand on the in-breath. And then we'll take the heels in, the toes in, the heels in, and the toes in. So we get everything back together. And you can step to the top of the mat. So, back here at the top. Find your feet. Grow some roots. Inhale fully. Exhale completely. I'm going to touch the earth and move back to chair. Inhaling. We're going to exhale, hands to the heart in the chair pose. Belly to the back. Give yourself a big lift. And we're going to rotate left side over to the right side. If your left knee comes a little forward, that's all right. Do try and pull back evenly through both sitting bones as best you can. Lengthen your spine forward and out. Work to twist yourself around towards the right. Grow a little longer every inhale. Twist a little deeper on the exhale. I'm going to invite you to open the arms here. So you're welcome to use a block to the outer left, or outer right foot, sorry. That'll make things a lot easier if your left hand has something to anchor onto. So if it doesn't quite make it to the earth, feel free to put a block down. Maybe send the right arm up. Keep the right hand on the hip, both shoulders deep down the back. Both sitting bones reaching back, crown dead ahead. Breathe in, breathe out. Rotate, another full inhale. We're going to work to lift up the left leg and step it back on the exhale. Lengthen from left heel to crown and reach. A little deeper into the rotation on the exhale. One more big inhale here. All the way to empty. Inhaling, hands down, lengthen. And exhale, step back to plank. Slow lower to the earth. Let's take it easy with a cobra. Inhale. And exhale. Back to dog pose. Take a moment to let things settle. Breath or two here. All right, let's take the left leg up and back, or right leg up and back. Big inhale. Step it up in between the hands. And just a little bit shorter than our Virabhadrasana 1, but the same idea. Pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. Beautiful place to use your blocks to find extension through your spine. So we want the weight under the right big toe and into the inner heel, and the whole right thigh pulling straight back to the wall behind. Keep a little micro bend in the knee, and protect yourself by really using the back of the leg. We want to stretch the hamstring and the calf. We also want it working a little bit. So lift your right heel maybe a millimeter off the ground, and see if you can keep that feeling of the back of the leg on as you put the heel back down. Keep pulling right thigh back. Weight into the left heel. Lift that left inner arch. Squeeze left outer thigh to the middle, and work to balance out the back of the pelvis. Feel things get level. And then stay up on your blocks if you need, or just work to fold out for a few breaths. You could take the blocks out in front of you and just work to extend. Getting longer and longer and longer. Or you could do that on your fingertips. But we keep weight in the back heel, pulling the front thigh back, squeezing the back outer thigh in, and softening the inseam of the left leg back. Give it another breath. Take the block back into the inside of the right foot if you need it. Right, as we take the right hand to the hip, inhale, draw that left shoulder down the back. Exhale, squeeze front and back, start your twist to the right. You can add the right arm to the sky. And breath nice and smooth. So continue to lengthen all the way from the left heel, left outer hip hugging in, and then all the way out through your spine. There's that rotation going through to the crown. Keep your head towards the left. Maybe your fingers can go over towards the right. Keep breathing. Give it a last breath here. When you're ready, we're going to drop it, hand down. Just hop the back leg back. Drop into a low lunge. Just to give things a moment to breathe, feel good. Right thigh continues to pull back and sink. Stay up on those fingers if you'd like. Then power up the back leg, breathing in. Step into the front leg, breathing out. Inhale. And exhale, fold. Chair pose, inhale. Exhale, rise. Let's move right back into our chair. Touch the earth, inhale. Exhale, hands to heart. Breathe in. Breathe out. Start your twist. Right side over to the left. Feel free to use the left arm to encourage that right arm around. And then we're pulling the heart forward through the crown. Lengthening the tailbone back. Feel both sitting bones trying to reach evenly backward. It's all right if your pelvis tilts a little sideways, but it's even as we can keep those sitting bones as wide as you can keep your chest. Crown going dead ahead and tailbone going straight back. Feel free to use the block here to the outer left foot to extend the right hand down to the earth, left arm up to the sky. Breathe well. About 3 deep breaths. When the right leg is coming up and stepping back. Take the hand to the hip if you need it. Continue to open. Sink the left hip, pull it back, hug the midline. Lift up through the top of the right thigh a bit. Hug the right outer leg in towards the middle. That's its key action. Feel the inseam of the right leg making space. Deep breathing. Good. So last breath here. And coming down when you're ready. Plank. Inhale. Exhale. Lower to the earth. Inhale. Cobra. And exhale back. Downward facing dog. Few breaths. Left leg up and back. Right up in between the hands for Parsvottanasana, the pyramid. A little wider than heel to heel. Grab those blocks. Straighten out the front leg. Bring some ease, right? When we have ease, we can have a greater sense of awareness. And we can work on refining things where they really find a beautiful place to center as well as open and stabilize. So ground in through that inner left foot. Move that left foot into the ground. Even lift the left heel a millimeter off the earth. Feel the back of the leg turn on and put the heel back down, but keep the back of the leg on. Move the weight into the right heel. Lift out a right inner arch. Squeeze right outer thigh to the midline. See what you can do to get the right hip up and forward next to the left one. A nice spacious feeling through the back of the pelvis. It feels like your hips are even and the sacrum and tail have plenty of space. And then stay on the blocks as you continue to lengthen out through the crown. Or walk them forward, where you might get a little more of a forward bend here, but weight back into the left hip, back into the right heel. There is a little more lengthening probably happening through the right side, because there is a natural little rotation that already is occurring. Give it another breath. And when you're ready, we're going to slide the right block back. You can place your hand on it, left hand to the hip, and inhale. Back to that halfway point, spinning the right bicep forward, exhale. Keep that level feeling in the hips. Work to twist. So, both sitting bones reaching back. You might be tilted a little to the right, but that's no worries. That's good. Let your pelvis move a little with your spine. And opening up through the chest. Shoulders deep into the back. Head might need to move a little back to the right. Even though we're trying to stay really well rooted into that left hip. Another breath here. Any little add-ons you did on the first side. Give it that last little bit of encouragement. And then release it. Hop into a low lunge. Take a moment to pause. Breathe. All right, then let's step it, powering up the back leg, step it to the front leg, lengthen out halfway, deepen in all the way, and we'll press down to rise up, all the way to stand. Take it down the center, empty it out. So I'm going to give us a moment here to go upside down. If you're not going upside down today, feel free to enjoy tree pose. Give it side to side, high up the leg or all the way down on the earth. If you're going to go for a handstand and you've got a free standing handstand in the center of the room, go for it. I'm going to invite the rest of us to use the wall. So the way I like to get there, especially in a sequence like today, is to just sit with the feet against the wall and place the hands right there next to the hips. Notice that place on the mat where your legs are straight and your spine is long and strong and your hands can press flat down. And then you're just going to spin it around. Your hands are going to stay there and you're going to go into a downward facing dog with your heels up on the wall. So you got to push those heels in and really work those shoulders into the back. Work to breathe. Dialing the shoulders open, keeping the breath strong. Keep that left heel pressing into the wall. Take the right leg straight up to the sky. Use the internal rotation. Tailbone up. Heel up. Arm strong and change sides when you're ready. Right heel into the wall. Left inner thigh soft. Breath steady and smooth. Use those front ribs. Squeeze them in. Tailbone up. And when you feel like both sides have enjoyed, go ahead and drop it down. Heels maybe a few inches from the wall, so you can sit your hips back on the wall. Soften the knees a hair and forward bend over the legs. Enjoy. As you come ball it off the wall, you can bring your hands behind your shins. Pull yourself in a little deeper if that feels good. So let's lengthen out and rise on up. And then you can do the same thing once more, or you could turn around and kick up for another handstand. You might bring the fingertips all the way to the wall. And as you bring yourself up the wall, we can get the heels reaching up, inner thighs softening back. Your butt's going to be touching the wall, sacrum trying to reach up it. As much of your ribs down low that you can connect to the wall, but then your shoulder blades are trying to reach off the wall, while at the same time you're trying to get your lower 12th rib to the wall. Tailbone up and arms strong. You might find yourself hovering off the wall a little bit. Let's give it another nice strong breath or two. And when you're ready to bring it down, come into your forward bend. Take a moment, relax the head. You could lean into the wall here if that is something you enjoy. Walking in a little closer. Doing that forward bend where your upper back just leans straight into the wall. And we'll release. Halfway on the inhale. Hands to hips. Belly to back, exhaling, and of course rising. Stand it up. So let's take it back to the top of the mat. Might come somewhere actually a few feet back from the top. Let's take the arms up, breathing in. Lift the heels up. And then slowly set the heels down as you swing your arms down, weight back into the heels, toes lift, shoulder blades into the back like you're back in a plank. Breathe in. Lift and lengthen, lift and lengthen. And breathe out. Weight back into the heels. So one more time, inhale up. Bring your hands to your heart, keep your heels up. We're going to soften the knees and sit down on the heels. Couple breath here. So you've got a choice. You can bring your fingers to the earth or the blocks. We're going to work to set the knees down lightly with a little belly control. And then a moment here to stretch out the bottoms of the feet. So if you sit back a little bit into those heels and work the weight straight down. Sometimes you get a little more opening in there. So really let the bottoms of the feet spread. Try and work all 10 toes apart. And then we'll take it the other direction for a couple breaths, tops of the feet down. And as you rest here, you can try and lift the knees even and get a little deeper stretch through the fronts of the ankles. And then a release to sit on the heels for a moment. Press to upright kneeling. And we'll move into a few rounds of camel pose. So toes can be curled under on the first one. You want to feel the inner thighs softening back, tailbone moving down, and front pelvis lifting. So there's a rising all the way up from the inner thighs, pelvic floor, to the heart. And then bottom sternum to navel, but upper arms back, shoulder blades down and in, giving the heart a little lift. So you can interlace the hands behind the back if you like. Move upper arms back, shoulder heads back, and then shoulder blades up and in. Try and give yourself a little pull down. Bottom sternum to navel. And lengthening all the way from those inner knees up. You might be able to drop back and catch your heels. Find that rebound from the earth up. Couple deep breaths. Chin in, back of the neck long. Make sure you can still speak here. Breathe well. And we'll release to sit back on the heels, exhaling. When you're ready, another round. Coming up, you can use hands to heart, tops of the feet down or toes curled under. Breathing in, breathing out, feel the midline. Give yourself a nice big widening through the front chest and deepening in through the belly. And lengthen up. Pour the heart up and back. Enjoy a few breaths. Get the breath moving back into those kidneys all the way to the top chest. At the bottom, stern the navel on the exhales and lift out of the back. All the way up to the top. Inhaling. Maybe hands to heart and exhale. Squeeze belly to back, sit down. Take a peaceful breath. And one more round when you're ready. Coming up. And hands to heart. Setting back down. Take a moment to relax and release. And then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog. So, wiggle it back there. And we'll move into plank. Enjoy just a few breaths to get rid of the back bend. Neutralize it. Tops of the thighs rising. Belly on. And then we'll lower down. Cobra pose. And all the way back. Child's pose. Hips to the heels. Knees as wide as you'd like. Rest your head. Go ahead and walk your hands back once again. You can bring your knees as close together as they'll comfortably go. So we're going to do a little thread the needle here. If you fold back out into your child's pose with your arms forward, you can take your right arm and thread it under to the left side and work to come down onto the right shoulder. You can use the left hand wherever it helps you to get a little twist. This is going to be a little shoulder opening. I like to use the left hand out to kind of press back through the hips a little bit. If your head doesn't completely relax on the earth, it's nice to put a block out there so your arm kind of rests in between and your neck stays long. Take it to the other side as you're ready. It's always nice to pause and center and then shift. And then back through center. And we'll walk the hands back, cross the heels, and take a moment to sit in the danda. Stretch your legs out. Widen out through the back of the pelvis. Lift up strong through the crown. And then we're going to take Sukhasana. So we'll start with Sukhasana at least. So work to cross around the middle of the shin. And flex the feet. You might want your front leg a little further forward, just to allow things to open. Flex the feet a little bit. Back of the pelvis wide. And we work to cross around the middle of the shin. I don't know if I already said that. Lift up nice and tall. And grow some roots. So you might stay right here if this feels good. Some people like the double pigeon. Ankle's going to go beyond the knee. So it's going to go just to the other side of your femur. And you're more than welcome to stay here. Or if you want to give yourself a little bit of external rotation through the right thigh, you could work to pick up this right leg. I've got the right leg in front, so if you're with me on that, you're going to bring that right heel up above the left hip and kind of into the belly for what's a little kind of half lotus preparation. So as long as it feels good on your knee and there's no torquing or weirdness in there, give yourself a tall spine. Shoulders down the back, both sitting bones evenly rooted. And we'll bring the left hand on top of right knee and right hand back behind the back. Breathe deep. Lift tall and work to rotate around to the right. Use the shoulder blades into the back. Just a few breaths. Give it another inhale. Exhale completely. We're going to inhale, look over, right over top of the right knee. And then let's work to bring the hands kind of out on that diagonal, get a little length. Let's see if you can start a little forward bend here. All right, coming down on the diagonal. You can walk your fingers out, lengthen out through the chest, deepen in. Any amount. Stay up on your fingertips or use the hands into the earth. Try a little push-pull. Or you can keep the shoulders integrated and things rooted and connected and getting spacious at the same time. Lift up a little on the inhale and walk it into center. We'll spend a couple breaths right in the middle. Getting long and going deep. Fold in a little if it's available. Rise up through your fingertips and use the exhale to squeeze your belly to your back and come up. And we will then come back to the danda. Lengthen out, sit tall. On the second side when you're ready. So I'm bringing the left leg in front this time. Around the middle of the shins with a good cross of the feet. Activate the feet rather. Sit tall. And feel free to stay in the sukha. Go to the double pigeon, right? Or take this other variation where we're getting more into a little of a half lotus preparation. It's up to you. You don't want anything tweaking the ankle, nothing tweaking the knee. Everything feeling tall and spacious and happy. And then we're going to move around to the side, getting taller, breathing deep. Last breath here, fill it up. Empty it out. Slowly unwind till you're on the diagonal. And then use the exhale to fold out on it. fingers wherever they're helpful. As many breaths as you need to widen the chest and deepen in. Good. Lengthening up and walking around to center when you're ready. Taking a moment here. Rise it up and release it. And we'll stretch it back out for Dandasana one more time. All right, give yourself a nice big inhale. Go out for Paschimottanasana. Pull the little toes back, push big toes and inner heels out. Just soften those inner thighs to the mat. Keep as much of a bend in the knees as you need to get the belly on the thighs. Wide open chest and nice long lower back. Can you get the front as long as the back in this pose is always the question. Keep going for it. Don't work too hard though. Back it off a little bit. Good. Find some length on an inhale. Belly to back as you exhale and give yourself a nice lift. We're going to make our way onto the back. If you know you'd like a little inner thigh stretch, have your blocks ready to go for that. We haven't really done a whole lot of that action today. You might choose to give yourself a little belly work on the way down. When you get the soles of the feet coming together and the knees wide, you can plant the blocks outside the thighs and lie back. Shoulder blades down the back. Feel free to pick up the hips here and lengthen the tailbone out. So there's a nice spacious feeling through the back of the pelvis and low back. Wherever you like the arms. Shoulder blades trying to live well down the back. Resting the base of the skull where it meets the spine on the earth. See if you can feel some length through the back of the neck. When you are feeling ready for Shavasana, make your way there. Find whatever support you need to make sure that you are completely happy where you rest. Back to your deep breathing when you're ready. Breathe a little gentle familiar movement back out into the edges of the body. You can bring the feet flat to the mat, the arms all the way up overhead, breathing in. Drop off to the side for a brief moment, breathing out. Press yourself up and find a gentle seat. So we do want to get rooted through the sitting bones. Grounded down and uplifted through the crown. Let's work to balance out the nervous system for a moment with some alternate nostril breathing. So we'll bring the right hand, where we can bring the pointer and middle finger inside, and we use the ring and the thumb finger, the ring finger and the thumb, I should say, at either side of the bridge of the nose, right where the bone and the fleshy part meet. And we rest there, where you can easily control the breath, closing a nostril with a light touch. And let's give it a full breath in through both sides of the nose. And let's close off the right side. Breathe out the left side. Empty it all the way out. Keep the right side closed, and you might leave the left finger lightly touching the skin, so that as you breathe in, you can feel where the breath enters. There's a little vibration there. Move all the way to the top of the chest with your breath. Hold, and close off the left side, and you can keep a light touch with the thumb as you exhale out the right. Feel a little vibration as you go all the way to empty. And hold the breath out for a brief moment, then sit back in through the right. Feeling that breath enter until you're full, and then hold. And then out the left. And that completes the cycle, beginning with an inhale on the left after the pause. Holding at the top and then exhaling right. Taking a pause and inhaling right. Taking a pause and exhaling left. And hold the breath out for a count of 2. Inhale for a count of 4. Hold for 2 at the top. Exhale right for 4. Hold out for 2. And inhale for 4. Hold for 2. And exhale for 4. Hold out for 2. And start a new cycle. Inhale for 4. Hold for 2. And exhale for 4. Hold out for 2. Inhale 4. Hold. And exhale 4. And another round working on even breathing. Take your own breath rhythm. You can continue on with the breath work if you'd like, or bring it to a close. Resting hands on the lap. You might see if you could bring the breath in through the left. Pause. Breathe it out the right. Pause. Inhale right. Pause. Exhale left. So when you're ready to bring things to a close, we'll bring hands to heart. Take a moment to nod chin into the chest, bowing into the presence and the wisdom that resides within the heart center. We bow to the one breath, to the one life that moves through us all. Let's enjoy a moment of gratitude as well for all the blessings and wonderful things in our life. Let's ask that all the blessings that we receive